Hello everyone, I'm Bo from Brutal Commentary, and today I'm going to be breaking down our first fight for UFC 320, coming to us this live October 4th. And before I really get into it, let me just say, it's kind of a milestone, or a small milestone at least, for the channel, as this will be the first time I'm covering a pay-per-view, as September we didn't get one, well, and that's when I started this whole thing. So for those of you who've been with me since early September, thank you all for continue the journey that I'm going through, and let us get to our first pay-per-view. First up on the card, we have Veronica Hardy versus Borgan Walker. Hardy is 9-5-1 as a professional, 3-2 in her last 5 fights, while Walker is 7-4 as a professional and 1-4 in her last 5 fights. For Hardy, she was a kind of a hit-and-miss fighter at times. Most of them, like in her last loss, which was about 5 years ago. Then took a bit of a hiatus, but came back and seemed to be much more improved, beating like Jamie Lee Hoare, JJ Aldridge, to name a few. Well, overall, won a 3-fight win streak. Now, in her most recent fight, however, at UFC 309 last November, she lost a decision to Eduardo Mora, where it was just a case of the one athlete just being the much bigger fighter than the other one. That's kind of always been the story of Veronica Hardy, though. She has very dynamic kicks. She has a Taekwondo background. You see her kicks are pretty flashy. They snap. There's not too much emphasis on power as much as there is in shooting it and retracting it right back to getting back into the stance. And overall, pretty good grappler, I would say. She can definitely mix it up pretty well. It's just, she's always been kind of undersized for 125 and always seemed like the smaller fighter. I'm honestly shocked she's never really attempted to fight at the strawweight division. Seems to me she might be able to make that cut pretty easily, all things considered. Now, she's taking on Borgan Walker, who, to be honest, I don't even know why she's still in the UFC. I'm honestly surprised she's taking this fight. It looked like she retired, if I'm being honest. As I said, 4-1 in her last 5 fights. Those last 3 in particular were in Invicta. Actually, her last win was actually Invicta, not even in the UFC. She fought on The Ultimate Fighter Season 30 with Nunes and Juliana Pena, where she did go all the way to the finals and lost to Juliana Miller about 3 years ago. Then about 2.5 years ago, well, 2 years and 5 months, she loses a decision to Yasmin Lucindo, which, all things considered, is not a bad loss. Yasmin Lucindo is a pretty good ranked contender at this point. But it seemed like after that fight, which, like I said, was 2.5 years ago, she just stopped. She wasn't competing. I don't know if there were already fights she had booked. She just got canceled or what, but it just seemed like, I thought the promotion cut her, to be honest, after like almost over a year of inactivity. You'd think, okay, were they just gone? And that's kind of what feels like the case. Like, Borgan Walker is like, she's alright. She has some good pressure, especially against the cage. She can mix it up with top pressures. In Invicta, she had some good ground and pound. That was her last win via ground and pound, and it seemed pretty good. But I'm honestly I'm drawing a blank at what exactly I can say that where she might have an advantage in this fight. Because this seems like a clear fight where one fighter's skills eclipses the others. It's just one's going to be the better fighter. Question is, can Veronica Hardy handle the physicality of Walker? Now, it says they both stand at the same height at 5'4". I'd be surprised if that was Veronica Hardy's real height, because sometimes they get that kind of wrong. It seems more like she's 5'3" or 5'2", just off the eye test, I would say. And I could definitely say Borgan will be the bigger athlete of the two. But Hardy's fought big athletes, like Jamie Lee Hoare, like Eduardo Mora, and she's been competitive with them. Now, one of these she lost a clear decision, that's fair. But she's got to be better than Borgan Walker. She just has to be. She's going to be much faster than her on the feet, more diversity on the feet. Her kicks are going to be lightning fast. I can see her chopping that calf kick at range pretty easily, just circling around that octagon, not really giving Borgan Walker any chances. I see her takedown defense being pretty good. I don't see Walker being some beastly wrestler, besides just muscling her down. Again, I just, like, one fighter just seems so much better than the other. The odds reflect this too, minus 600 for Hardy, plus 400 for Walker. If you want to bet Walker, have fun. Sometimes in these women's MMA fights, the big underdog wins, but it ain't gonna happen in this one. I just don't see it. I just see Veronica Hardy just. I don't want to say put on a showcase like she looks so good. It's like, oh my god, why isn't she ranked yet? I don't see that. I just see one person being better. This is sort of a layup. I'm going to call it as I see it. I see this as a sort of layup fight. Veronica Hardy just gets back in the winning column. And I'm thinking she's going to win by a decision. Like I said, credit to Walker. She's tough. She fights on, but fighters like, say, Juliana Miller, who just pressed the action forward and took her down at basically will, it felt like, and just destroyed her ground and pound. Veronica Hardy isn't that type of fighter, though. She's not one to really utilize pressure. She's more about her finesse and keeping a good, solid kickboxing range distance. What she has to, she'll make it dirty and fight out of submissions or fight with submissions off her back pretty well. Plus, you got to think Dan Hardy, who is her boyfriend, for sure has at least some idea of what to do in terms of a good game plan for Veronica Hardy. So, yeah, Veronica Hardy, it's a clear win. This should not really be competitive. The only competitive aspect is, can she stifle off any clinch attempts and separate? That's the biggest thing I think we have to worry about if we're picking Veronica Hardy. With that being said, though, that has been my prediction for this fight. If you liked the video, comment and subscribe. Let me know what you think about this being the first pay-per-view we cover. I'm honestly excited, as on paper, this looks like one of the best cards of the year. We'll have to see how it all plays out in practice, but right now, I could not be more hyped for this fight. Or, sorry, not this fight. This card as a whole. This card is a meh, but, it starts the show. That's all I care about. Next up, we will have Ramiz Brahimaz versus Austin Vanderford. But until then, I'm Bo from Brutal Commentary. I thank you all for listening. Take care.